We're back. What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. Actually, no, it's not. It's Wednesday. We never do Wednesday shit. Wednesday, June 8th. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
Yeah, we're nice and warmed up. We just had a live show at noon, and now we're back at 2. So, look, Shoddy, she's back with us here. Hi to Shoddy, and hi to everybody that joined us earlier and are here with us now. It's Blinkers Off time. It's time for the serious stuff now, Jared.
That's right. All that bullshit aside earlier. You're here for the real stuff now. Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday and it's afternoon. It's a totally different. Like we're not in our normal. We're usually in the evening on Thursdays, but the field's out. I don't know how much more we can talk about the field, right? So we need to get it off our chest, just like you guys do, and talk about it. We're working on the guide. It's in the final stages as well, and so I feel like it's one of the things about this card where it's like you kind of have your opinions pretty easily, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's very cut and dry. It's this or this. Take this, whatever that horse might be, and press and just hope your opinions are right. It's really not a spread, on a bunch of races type of card because they're just not huge fields. But stars are out. Very, very good horses. The best in the country are there without any question. And you gotta sometimes you just have to ride the chalk and hope it's right. And everywhere else, you're just gonna have to press and hope that your opinions are right. And if they are, you're gonna get paid.
Yeah, one thing that Samich said earlier today that on the live show that we did that I thought was it's so true. And it's like when you have these kind of cards where it's not, you don't have huge fields, but you have serious horses. You get more like there's not the bullshit of the horse had a bad trip or this cheap speed that just completely blew up the race and completely took out your horse's chances of winning. It's like when you have fields like this where you have star horses, so they're gonna. They're bringing it, right. They're showing up. Grade 1 caliber. Here's 8 grade 1s and 9 stakes races. They're grade 1 horses, so they're gonna bring it, and you're gonna get the best efforts most likely out of all of them. And you get rewarded if you're right.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not going to be crazy speed duels or traffic trouble or anything like that. Not a lot of traffic to get into, although some jockeys could find traffic in a 5-horse field.
No,
but,
it will happen. Don't worry.
Yeah, but you're right. It's definitely, may the best horse win. We're going to line them up, and there's really not going to be any excuses one way or the other. If you get in a speed duel in a 5-horse field, I don't know what to tell you, right?
Yeah, that's just it. And to that point is like there's only 4 other horses, so you gotta kind of assume that if there is a speed duel that you can kind of foresee that happening. It's kind of hard to find a horse that's like, well, I don't know, like maybe that horse. It's like, no, you kind of know in these fields, like if they possess the kind of speed, in order to go with whoever.
No doubt, yeah, and that's how it is. Like you talk about like a race like the Met Mile, like that's pretty clear what's going to happen, right? I mean, you just look at the past performance, and it's like, yeah, there's 2 horses that have a good early speed, the rest of them don't. Surely they're not going to get in a 2-horse speed duel in a 5-horse field. So you can kind of see how they're going to fall in those situations. And so you could probably handicap this card a little bit quicker. I wouldn't necessarily say it's super easy to pick winners on this card because the races with the short fields, for the most part, do have that 2, star headline type of feel. And it's like, okay, am I taking horse A who's really, really good, or am I taking horse B who's really, really good?
Yeah, and even to further that, I would say of the whole card, I guess the Belmont, maybe you could, the Belmont Stakes, of course, you could make a case for that as well. But, with this one, like Chris says, the Ogden Phipps, this one, I get, and I personally think Latruska is a standout, but all 5 search results, Clairiere, can she finally break through? Malathot, how good is she? She returned so good out of that as a 4-year-old. Can't she make another step forward? She's a serious horse. And then, of course, Bonnie South and Latruska. But yeah, I mean, that's one that you can almost take maybe 4 out of the 5 where you could quite easily make a case in terms of putting them to win, right? And it's also a day where like Latruska could run her ass off and Malafat just nails her at the end or whatever. Like it's one of those days that you could get serious efforts from your horse and still lose.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me a lot of the Travers Day card, oddly enough, Naira Circuit, of course, Saratoga instead of Belmont. But if you remember the Travers, there were top-heavy races, and it was like, oh, man, they're top-heavy. But they produced some memorable moments, right? Like 5 and 6 horse fields on the surface, they're kind of a bummer. But when you look at what actually happens in those races sometimes, there's some crazy stuff that could go down. Let's not forget the Alan Jerkins 6 horse field, but oh my gosh, Life is Good and Jackie's Warrior throwing it down that day was super. It was one of the best races of the year. So, Saratoga last year, we saw some wild finishes with 5 horse fields. Remember, Malathot got beat in a 5 horse Coaching Club American Oaks last year. We saw, I think the Jim Dandy may have been 5 horses. It was either 5 or 6, but Essential Quality almost got beat. And guess what? It was like 7 wide in a 5 horse field in the Jim Dandy last year. So, yeah, on the surface, they're always a little bit disappointing. But when you really think about it, some of the wackiest, craziest, most fun times have been with these shorter fields when it comes to the results.
Yeah, that's just it. You get in these races. And by the way, to Ron's point, you can – if you can get a Latruska beat, or if you can get what if neither Speaker's Corner or Flightline win or whatever, like is it unlikely? Yes. But if you do play that angle, you're going to get rewarded because these horses are going to be, Flightline and Speaker's Corner are going to be used on everyone's tickets in those sequences. But if you get one of those horses beat and say you get, it's shocking. I don't think even Clariere would be one if she can win that race. Like that's a horse that not a lot of people might use, and that can separate you in terms of these payouts. So even though these are small fields, if you think there's vulnerable favorites in one of these races, the payout could be dramatic.
Yep, absolutely. So, and that's the thing. You got to beat one of them in a sequence, and like you just said, it's going to be big. You don't have to find a 30-1 shot either. Like Happy Saver, for example, probably be 6-1 in that race, maybe. Going to pay like a 30-1 in the pick 4 and pick 5 sequence because everybody, if they're smart, is going one or the other there. And so if you can, meaning Speaker's Corner or Flightline. So if you beat them both, like Jared just said, now the door's really open. You probably killed 80% of the tickets in that situation.
Right. So that's another angle to, that versus pounding a pick 3 or something with the chalk, and there's 2 different angles. So if you are playing smaller budgets, or if you still like to play those 50-cent dollar, pick 4s, multi-race sequences or whatever, then that's where it makes sense to not use these 2 heavy favorites and instead play prices. And yes, is it unlikely? But sure. I mean, that's how you hit huge cashes, right? Let's not forget Aloha West. We'll talk about that race. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I'm too excited to talk. We're going to talk, obviously, the 154th running of the $1.5 million Belmont Stakes at Belmont Park. We're going to get into that entire race. We're going to give our analysis, going to give our picks, our thoughts on how that race is going to unfold. Everything you need. We're going to talk Belmont Stakes. But, of course, the undercard is massive as well. So we're going to give some rapid-fire selections for some of the remaining Greatest Stakes action on the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival card. Let's go! If you can't tell, we are. I said it earlier. Like I love this card. I cannot wait to. Well, I'll watch. I could watch this card and not have any money on it. That's how good I like this. How much I like this card.
Yeah, I mean, you from the minute it came out, I was like, oh God, this is going to be awesome. And you're right. I mean, these races, and again, is it the best betting card I've ever seen? No. Is it still really exciting? Yes. Is it still, could it be profitable day? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just love. I just my favorite I love handicapping stakes races. I love handicapping serious races, and I'm better at it, frankly. And I just love when these horses show, like when you have these heavy hitters that show up for these big races, and you get to see what it's all about. You get to see the fly line versus Speaker's Corner. You get to see Latruska try to hold off Clairiere and Search Results and whoever. I just, like you said, you don't like that day, and you brought up the Travers day. That's exactly the day I thought of when it came to this card, because I remember how memorable that day was for a lot of reasons. I don't think Borat Capper is going to be here for this, but still, I think that just having these one race after another, like, oh, here's another grade one, here's another grade one, and just one like huge effort after another. I don't care if it's 5 horses or if it's 3, if it's 10, like you see these kind of horses show up and going to give it a run. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do we want in that Met Mile, right? Like who's going to be in that Met Mile to change your opinion on something? Yeah. That's the whole thing. Like there were great horses sitting out, that'd be one thing, but there's not. I mean, there's not good enough horses to run against those two.
Steve, this is I could not disagree more with this thought. Only 3 races worth wagering: the Jaipur, the Manhattan, and the Belmont. Why? I'd like to know why that's the case. Why you think that?
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, and if you feel that way, don't bet it. That's kind of what I was
those telling. 3. Yeah.
That's what I was telling. Well, I'm not telling you guys. I don't get on Twitter much anymore, but people were complaining. I'm like, there's 27 tracks running on Saturday. So you've got a lot of options. And if you like to play races with full fields, you'll have those options somewhere. So just don't bet it.
Don't bet it. Yeah.
I can't. Nobody's making you.
Oh, there is Borat Capper.
There you
go. All right, let's get into the main event here. Saturday, Belmont Park, race 11, the Belmont Stakes. That's a grade one, $1.5 million on the line for 3-year-olds going 1.5 miles. So it's the grueling test of a champion, the Belmont Stakes. Of course, going over Big Sandy, which is, unless you've seen it in person, it truly is an unbelievable track, and you see it in person and you're like, oh shit, this is like, you have to be a legit horse in order to finish this race in first. So a field of 8 lines up here, Alterman, and really the big question as you come in here, can we the people wire this field? He's easily the lone speed. That's probably why he became the morning line favorite at 2-1, 5-2 on Mo Donegal. Last seen finishing 5th in the Kentucky Derby. He got, obviously drew the rail that day. Had to work out a trip, and did so, and was a mile wide going down the stretch. And then you have the Derby winner, Rich Strike, 80-1. Rich Strike, who's not 80-1, 7-2 morning line here. Nest of the Kentucky Oaks runner-up. You've got Creative Minister finished 3rd. To Epicenter and early voting in the Preakness Stakes. You got Barber Road, you've got Golden Glider, and you've got Skippy Longstocking, who is seen in the Preakness last as well. So let's start with the first horse. Can this horse go gate to wire? Number 1, We the People.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the first big question. And as a pace handicapper, you definitely seem to think that could be the case, right? He definitely looks to be loose on the lead a little bit. Some interesting things to start off with that. It's interesting to me. I thought he would be like on the time form pace projector that I like to look at. I thought he would be way ahead of everybody. Like I thought it'd be clear lone speed. They actually don't have him rated all that fast. He's in the lead for sure. They think the 5 Creative Minister will not be that far off of the 1 We the People. So I thought that was interesting right off the bat, that maybe he's not quite as fast as we think. He's been on the lead, but he's also had some pretty slow fractions when he's done it. So, but anyway, the 5 Creative Minister to them is their kind of likely scenario horse of maybe kind of not pressing him, but being right behind him. But still, We the People going to be in front. It's just a matter of how far. And look, I think there's 2 question marks. Can he do it over a dry track is certainly number 1. And I think it's very valid. Of course, the Peter Pan was a sloppy/good track. And the biggest one of all is he classy enough to get this done? The Peter Pan was not a great race. We talked about this at length when it was Peter Pan time, when we previewed the race. Yeah, sure, he won. He looked great, but those horses weren't great in that race. The other horse that's coming out of the Peter Pan that's going to run here is Golden Glider. He's the longest shot on the board, which kind of tells you the strength of the race. So that's the big question mark. Sure, he's got a pace advantage, but is he good enough to hold on and beat a better group here?
Yeah, I don't. And the thing is, I don't know that the more I've looked at We the People, the more I've kind of studied his past performances and his numbers. I just don't know that he's he'll be on the lead, but I don't know that he's fast enough to necessarily blow him out and kind of separate. And so if one of these horses Nest or, even Creative Minister, I was a little surprised by that as well. If one of those horses is quite close to him, and I think there will be somebody, because we're not the only ones seeing him as a lone speed. So they're not going to just let this horse go easily. I would not think so. Someone's going to put the pressure on him, even if it's right off of him. And I just don't know that he's fast enough to he doesn't have, I don't look at him and say, wow, he's got major speed. I just think he's found himself on the lead. The last time he was close to the lead in his first 2 races, but he kind of set off of it at first. So he definitely does his best running on the front end, but I don't know that I would say he's this just pure speed horse that can just put them away. And then obviously the class side as well, you just don't know. I mean, the Peter Pan, he rolled, but I mean, he beat Golden Glider. That's the horse that's, he's an afterthought really in this race. So he's dangerous. Don't get me wrong, but I will be playing against We the People on the top end just because I think there's other horses to like more. And I don't know that I don't see him separating himself enough to win.
You made a great point about We the People. He isn't really a true speed horse. His time form rating for early speed is 104. That's not that fast on this scale. If you had other speed in this race, there's no way we would think he's going to get the lead based on this. He just has fallen onto the lead this time because of there's just no other pace in the race. You look at his other races, Arkansas Derby, he was 5th at the half-mile pole. His allowance race, he was 2nd, and his maiden race, he was 3rd. So the only time he's been in first at the half-mile pole was the Peter Pan. And it could have just been the same situation. There was no other speed in the race, right?
Yeah. I know so yeah, I think there's no doubt just because of the way the race is, and you would love to see one other horse in here that you can count on putting pressure on him, but because there isn't, he becomes a danger. And now you have to add in the fact that it's possible that it could be the track could be similar to what it was on the Peter Pan day. We don't know that, of course, but it could be. That has to be a factor as well. And Pratt back aboard. So I mean, he's dangerous. I hate the 2-1. I think when you compare him and Mo Donegal, for instance, who we'll talk about next, 5-2 on Mo Donegal is fair odds. I think. I don't hate those odds. It'll be interesting to see what these horses are bet, but I kind of assume the favorite of this race would be 5-2 in the morning line, not 2-1. That's why I don't like those odds for We the People.
I think Mo Donegal should be favored here, and so he's not, and that's good news for you and I, who both like Mo Donegal. Listen, no matter what they go off at, if he's around this 5-2 and he's the favorite or not, 5-2 seems about fair for this horse. I'm pretty confident if he runs the race he ran in the Wood Memorial, I think Mo Donegal is going to win. He just ran a very good race there. You look at the Kentucky Derby, he was way too far back like we thought. He was way wide like usually happens. Rich Strike laughs at that comment, but usually a closer is wide coming down the stretch, and it cost him. He got beat by 3 3/4. He probably lost that margin on the turn. So look, he needs to run better than he did in the Derby. There's no doubt. I think he can. I think this sets up really well for him. He did win over this track. It was a maiden, but he did win over here at Belmont, going a mile and 16th. He should be able to get a mile and a half. I think he's going to sit a little closer than dead last this time. I think the pace will be slow enough that he's right up there, kind of maybe mid-pack. I just think he's got enough turn of foot to catch him. And I think he'll make a nice little move to get in position, and I think he's going to run him down in the stretch. Again, if he runs that Wood Memorial race, he can do it. He beat the Preakness winner in that race, and he beat that Preakness winner who was loose on the lead, just like we project with the people. So it helps for the Mo Donegal camp that we've seen him run down a horse that maybe shouldn't have been run down, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. The way he ran down him in the Wood Memorial was very similar to how they could not run him down in the Preakness Stakes, and he did. He got it done. I don't foresee Mo Donegal being that far out of it as well. His ability to make. Here's the thing about him is he's such a true horse, because you go back, like, even when he hasn't won, he makes his run, and he's even in the Derby, like, he lost, but he made a huge run to get 5th that day, almost got 4th. So I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to get a run out of him. And I do think that the move that they make in the turn with Mo Donegal is going to be critical, because he is the kind of horse that's not going to wow you with this huge move that's just like here, like from last to first in a heartbeat. He's going to grind. He's going to keep grinding. He's going to get that whole stretch of at Belmont to grind down, whether, we the people, whoever it is that's on the lead at that point. So I just think this race has fit him, and I've thought this race had fit him for a while, because he's just going to keep coming. He's a grinder. And so I definitely like playing Mo Donegal here, and I think the biggest, you'll see him make that move in that turn. He did that very similar in the Wood Memorial. He was pretty, not super far out of it, but he was far enough out of it, made that move, got up into second. And then the work came in, right? He just kept coming. Of course, he was on the inside, had to get out. Kept coming. So I think I really, that's how I foresee Mo Donegal, because he is going to have to keep coming, because I don't necessarily feel like We the People is just going to give it up easily. I mean, I think once he gets, I don't know about you, but with We the People, it feels like once someone heads him, like, then he might be in a little trouble.
I think so too. I don't think you're going to see, him fighting back on the rail, trying to hold somebody off. I think We the People's best chance to win, which could absolutely happen, by the way, is get out in front, and then nobody kind of can get to him. But yeah, I think Mo Donegal can get him if he can get him within his grasp, so to speak. And you're right. You kind of said, hey, this horse just keeps coming and coming. You just look at his running lines. It's like he's down 6, he's down 5, he's down 4, he's down 2. He wins, He's like a fast grinder. And usually, like a grinder, you don't want to hear that word when describing a horse, because it just kind of means they just kind of run the same speed all the way around. And like, if you come back to them, they'll slowly come get you. But he doesn't really have a huge acceleration. He just accelerates nice and easy. He doesn't have just one speed. He continues to run down the stretch. And boy, when he kind of reminds me, and I'm not saying he's as good as Will Take Charge is right now at all, but he kind of reminds me of him a little bit. Once he gets in that stretch and he gets that target, he really locks in, and maybe he doesn't get that target every time, but he's trying. He sees it. You can see him kind of drop his head and really go try to get that horse in front of him.
Now I'm going to make someone very happy. What? And I'm playing a little devil's advocate here, but what's so different with him and Barber Road? Now I get it. I get it. Trust me, I'm playing a little devil's advocate, but you go back and watch the Kentucky Derby, those horses ran very similar races. One was in 19th, one was in 20th early in that race. Both closed like freight trains. Barber Road was even further outside of Mo Donegal. You're getting 10-1 on the morning line versus 5-2. I trust me, I'm Mo Donegal. I'm not saying that I'm not. But if you're talking about a horse that's going to be coming late, and I think Barber makes a ton of sense playing in second and third because he's proven to where he kind of makes that run every time.
I can't argue. I think he makes some sense underneath for sure in this race. I kind of describe him as a poor man's Mo Donegal a little bit. They kind of are really similar. The only difference is Mo Donegal can finish and win, and Barber Road can't. And that's just a fact right there. When you look at the past performances, this Barber Road has had many chances to win. He's been very close, and he can't quite finish the deal. I think he can hit the board. That's the end with him, though. And they, like I said, the difference is that final, let's say 8th or even 16th, Mo Donegal has that extra gear to go ahead and pass that horse. We've seen him do it. Barber Road just hasn't been able to do it. The other big thing is Mo Donegal has a win over the Preakness winner. That's a big coup in this spot. Mo Donegal beat Zandon in a race as a 2-year-old. That's a big coup in this spot. That's where Barber Road just doesn't have that. Yeah, you take that Kentucky Derby. They were similar races. You can't really argue it. I just don't know that he's got that finishing kick at the end. Like I described it, Mo Donegal, it seems like as they get towards that wire, man, he's really starting to accelerate. You just don't see the acceleration for Barber Road. That's why I haven't really ever liked him. But in a race like this, it's a 1.5 miles, and a horse like Barber Road, if they start to come back to him, he's going to pass some in this race. There's no doubt. He's going to pass a few horses here. I don't think he can pass all of them. I think he can pass a majority of them, though.
Yeah, you're getting, there's, two big things with him as well. You're getting an equipment change. Blinkers are coming off, and you get Rosario, which is a huge, huge improvement there. And it fits Barber Road, I feel like. So I was playing devil's advocate there. But my point is I don't like, the more I've looked at it, I was like, I'll be keying him in my second and third spots, because if you get him Mo Donegal over Barber Road or something like that, this race is sometimes known for having a crazy or maybe less than ideal horse come up and get second, because of whether it be just a lot of the horses didn't want to go that far. This horse just kind of kept grinding his way down the stretch and got up there for second. So if We the People doesn't want to go this far and gets burned out a little bit, and Ness doesn't want any business here, and Rich Strike doesn't fire or whatever, like Barber Road is, like you said it perfectly, the poor man's Mo Donegal. So let's talk now about the Derby winner. We got to talk about the Derby winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys asked, we all asked, but someone, Magic asked me if I thought Rich Strike could win this race. And it took me like 5 minutes to come up with an answer, because it was like, yes. Like, yeah, he can win. Sure. I mean, he won the Derby, but I will be playing. I'll be using him in my multis, but I'll be playing against in any kind of exotics, just because you're going from 80-1 to 7-2, and just seems like a huge bet against here.
Here's a trivia question for you, or maybe I won't ask it as a question. I'll just read it as a fact. It's easier to do it that way to get my point across. Rich Strike has had 8 starts. 7-2 is the shortest price he's ever been, and it came in an allowance at Keeneland, where he finished third after he had won at Churchill by 17 lengths. So, but he was still just 7-2 in that race. So if he goes off anywhere lower than 7-2, it will be the shortest price he's ever been in his entire life, and it's in the Grade 1 Belmont Stakes. He was 80-1 in the Kentucky Derby. That's well documented. He was 26-1 in the Jeff Ruby. He was 20-1 in the Battaglia. So this horse has never taken this kind of money, save for one time. Can he win? I kind of like how Navajo said, yeah, anybody can win. Should he really win this race? Even if you take the Kentucky Derby into play, it's still questionable that he can win. Even if you knew only one race and it was the Kentucky Derby, there's horses with speed figures better than this horse. He got a really good setup and a really good ride/trip in that race. I'm with you. It's like, I'm not going to be shocked if he wins. He looks great on the track leading up to this race. I just can't bet him knowing that he was 80-1 last time out. He's been a long shot almost his whole career, and he's going to be that short of a price in this spot. And listen, he's 7-2 morning line. Who knows what the odds are going to be? He might be the favorite.
It's going to be fascinating how they bet this race. If we saw anything, if we learned anything from the Derby, it was the Preakness was just, the betting was insane because of the rich strike. We assume the rich strike effect, because you had horses like Fenway that were being bet like crazy, and it just made no sense whatsoever. How is the actual horse going to be bet off of the 80-1 upset win in the Kentucky Derby? So yeah, you're right. How much attention will he get? And how, if he gets pounded, how will that affect, Mo Donegal or I guess you want to go Creative Minister or whoever, Nest or We the People. I mean, does We the People all of a sudden become like 4 or 5-1 because of, the Rich Strike and maybe Mo Donegal, the classiest horses of the race. So it definitely will be interesting to see. I didn't fault the morning line necessarily too much, but it's just it was a tough one to make. Let's talk about another horse here's a horse that I think if he was not, I don't know what it is. I'm worried that he's just going to be too tired here. But if under normal circumstances, I may have picked the 5 Creative Minister. He ran a sneaky good race in the Preakness. The concern is this horse has just been running his absolute ass off as of late. This will be the only horse that's ran the quote unquote Triple Crown. He did not run in the Derby, but he did run on the Derby undercard. Of course, he ran in the Preakness, and now he's going to be running the Belmont. Let's not forget, he also ran April 9th, and he ran March 5th. So this is a horse that's just been running his ass off as of late. But Creative Minister, I don't think is in it without a shot.
I love him. I think he's got a great shot to win this race. I think. Look, I'm not overly worried about the short rest. I think he's going to be all right. I think he can sit a little bit closer than people think, and especially with a slow pace. I think he's going to be in second and third. I think he turns for home, taking first shot at the leader, We the People. Now, look, it's still a McPeak horse. He did save a lot of ground in that Preakness race, and that helped him close a little bit stronger. But I thought he proved a lot in that one. I couldn't pick him to win. I do think this horse is sneaky for second. I really do. I think he's going to sit a good trip. I think he'll get another, kind of a ground saving trip. I think they can kind of sit him in second and third and put him on the rail. It's just going to be, can he finish, going a mile and a half? I think he kind of will. I like Creative Minister in the spot a lot. I almost think there's a situation where Creative Minister is the one Mo Donegal has to catch.
Yeah.
If he takes over at the top of the stretch and he can head We the People, maybe he can kind of take this race over, and it looks like he's going to win this thing.
Yeah. I actually think that's it might be right, because he's going to get him and Nest. We'll talk about Nest here next. Should get first stabs at We the People, right? Because they have enough early speed in the race to where they should sit a better trip and take their first chance. And yeah, I agree. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, when they, like you said, they hit the top of the stretch, midway through the stretch, and Creative Minister is right there on the lead, or if not very close to the lead. So he's definitely one that if you go back and watch the Preakness, he was much the best of the rest. Obviously early voting and Epicenter were better than him that day, but he easily was better than, Skippy. And so you kind of have that factor. I think he's much better than Golden Glider, obviously. So probably even better than Barber Road. So you still think that he's going to have that. I'm going to need every bit of 6-1. I'm going to need more than 6-1 is the problem. If you're going to play him to win. Now, underneath, of course, you play him. But in terms of if I'm going to play a win bet, 6-1 is getting a little low for me.
That's the problem. And if you want to jump to Nest right then, we can, because she kind of goes hand in hand, because I kind of think Nest will get bet harder than Creative Minister. Am I crazy to think that, though?
No, because Nest with the Philly angle, Todd Pletcher is obviously, Todd Pletcher, Jose Ortiz, you got all the connections there, the Kentucky Oaks runner up. So yeah, no, I think she will be, wouldn't be surprised if they flip their, 8-1 and 6-1 range, whereas Creative Minister goes off around 8-1, whereas Nest is more like 6-1. I've heard a few people. Nick says, Pletcher, hey, my boy Nick. I know he's entered Nest as a rabbit. So what are your thoughts on Nest being in? I don't necessarily think that literally they said, oh, let's run her in the Belmont to be a rabbit. I think it might be deemed beneficial for them that she's in the race, though, for Mo Donegal.
I don't think she's a rabbit. I think she could end up kind of somewhat playing that role. I would be shocked if you see that horse just send as hard as you can to be a rabbit, though. A true rabbit is one you just don't give a shit about. Just send as hard as you can, press that horse no matter what, and that's it, right? I don't think Nest is that type. I just don't. I'm just thinking they think the distance is going to hit this horse right between the eyes. They think she's really going to like it, and they're going to give it a shot. Now, again, can she be the one to kind of bother we the people naturally? Possibly. I do think, they'll think, well, listen, the way the filly wins is we got to kind of get her out towards the front. And if that happens and then we're bothering we the people because of that, then that's okay for them. But I don't think she's specifically a rabbit. With her, I don't know that she's quite fast enough. That's my biggest worry about her. And that's not really, I'm not really knocking her. She's been great. She's a great filly, but she got second in the Kentucky Oaks to Secret Oath. She wasn't really competitive with her. Secret Oath was fourth in the Preakness. She didn't have a great trip, but we also saw Secret Oath third in the Arkansas Derby. She just couldn't quite, she didn't embarrass herself. She just wasn't quite good enough to beat the boys. Why is Nest? Is it the distance? Is that the only thing that could really kind of get her in the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, Pletcher specifically did say like the big reason for her being in this race is the distance. Made sense for her being a Curlin, out of an AP Indy mare. So yeah, I think the distance is the biggest thing. I kind of agree with Truth Exposed. She really never did start her run in that race until it was way too late. Now, I don't think she was ever going to beat Secret Oath that day, but she definitely, once she kind of got in her rhythm there towards the end of that race, she was just she has that very similar grinding style that Mo Donegal has, right? That just now I don't think she's as good as Mo Donegal, but has that slow grind. So that's going to obviously benefit her in this race. So I think she will be, I don't know that she's fast enough. I agree with you there. But I do think she's a factor in the race. I think when they hit the top of the stretch, she'll still be there. I think she'll be putting the pressure on We the People along with Creative Minister. So I think those two do enough to give the benefit to my top pick. I think your top pick, Mo Donegal. Anyone, and if you like Rich Strike, or if you like Barber Road, or whoever it is you like, I think those two horses do enough to soften up We the People.
Yeah, I think you're right. I see the comment that, listen, Nest is better than Secret Oath, and it just didn't get a chance to run in that race. I'm just not sure. She has a lot of blowout wins, but she was kind of facing horses that weren't very good, and the numbers didn't really come back that strong. The Ashland, the horse that finished second in the Ashland that day that she beat by 8 1/4, came back and ran an allowance race and was nowhere to be found. Didn't even hit the board. So I don't know what she faced that day, really. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on her. Now, the other way around that is the third place finisher did come back and win, the Black Eyed Susan. So, there's mixed results coming out of that race. A lot of them didn't run well. A couple of them did. I'm just not sure how high her talent level lies. And that's why I kind of looked at Creative Minister instead of Nest in the spot.
Okay, I've got to put a few people down here. So, Joseph, why did he run Skippy and the Preakness then? How'd that go? So, I don't disagree that they're running the mirror. I thought all along that they would run both races, both legs. But to say, like, he was not going to enter him if he didn't think he could win, well, I think he's entering him because it's a $1.5 million race that he thinks the horse could possibly hit the board. So that is a little less. And come on. Secret Oath was not losing that day. I'm sorry. And I get that I think Nest is better than what we saw that day. Secret Oath was a beast that day. She made a huge, huge move, and I don't think Nest could have done anything about her that day. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think Nest was better than what we saw in the Oaks.
Yeah, maybe she makes it close. Maybe she does, but I think Secret Oath and her. Secret Oath was wide in the race, but she did get she didn't have anybody blocking her or anything like that. You could debate it all you want. The bottom line is, let's say they're equal. I still don't think Nest is a play here. And that's where I'm at. Like, even if Secret Oath was here, I don't think she would be a play based on what we've seen when these fillies take on the boys, unless the distance just really, really fits her really well, and she loves it.
All right. Magic says, breaking news, the inside track to the Belmont Stakes left his hands, so now it's in our hands, and then it'll be posted. So look for that on the site later today, tonight, somewhere in that time frame. All right. Final pick. Who's the pick for the Belmont Stakes?
I just have to go with Mo Donegal. He's been very consistent. We've seen him in a similar situation where it looked like he couldn't run down a lone speed horse, and he did. And that lone speed horse, next start, won the Preakness. And again, I just don't think we can say that enough. He beat the Preakness winner, and he did it in a race where he had every excuse not to do it. And so you get in here. I think he's just better than these horses. I get it. If you want to play We the People, I understand it, man. I do. Like, the pace advantage is there. I think at the end of the day, Mo Donegal grinds him down late, and Mo Donegal wins this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's the pick. You look at his races. Yes, he beat the Preakness winner. He also beat Zandon in the Rimson. I know that was a while back, but he ran that horse down. A horse that, at all accounts, could have possibly won the Derby as well. To finish fifth in the Kentucky Derby was unbelievable. With a better trip, even an inside trip, this horse is at least second or third at the worst. Mo Donegal, and maybe we'll be talking about him in a little bit different light. So he's going to get the trip here. I think he's going to get somewhat of enough of a setup for him to where he'll be tactical and be able to pounce late and grind, like you said. So I'm with you. I think Mo Donegal gets it done for Todd Pletcher. Number 6, Mo Donegal wins the Belmont. All right. We will be right back with Rapid Fire. But first, here's a word from our sponsors.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Somich coming at you here, and today we're excited to talk about a new partnership over racingdudes.com, BetPTC. We just went into a partnership with them, allowing our users to be able to get not only a $200 sign-up bonus after they bet $750 on the site, but also a rebate. Aaron, you've been using BetPTC. Tell us a little bit about the rebate that you can get.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. You get up to 4% on your win wagers, 8% on exotics. And the great thing about it is with a lot of rebates, well, you don't get them at all with some. And with some, it takes a while for it to hit your account. Not with BetPTC. Immediately when that race goes official, A, you're going to get your payout, hopefully, because you've cashed your bet. But B, that rebate hits your account immediately. So if you bet $100 on a race, guess what? Or let's say a win, you're going to have $4 in your account immediately when that race goes official. And like I said, up to 8% for exotics.
It's pretty awesome. Make sure you check to make sure your state's eligible for both BetPTC and the rebate, since it does vary from state to state. If you're looking to sign up and take advantage of a $200 bonus, just click on this Sign Up Now button here at betptc.com. Make sure you enter in all your information, scroll down to the bottom, and make sure you include promo code DUDES when you're signing up to be able to get a $200 bonus after betting $750. That gets deposited right into your account, and then you're eligible to get rebates back as well. So make sure you check out BetPTC and give them a shot to see if they can earn your business.
All right. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by the Inside Track to the 2022 Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. That's right. Get the all-inclusive wagering guide to the 2022 Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. This Saturday, June 11th at Belmont Park features in-depth analysis of all 9 stakes on the card, 8 grade ones, including the $1.5 million Belmont Stakes that we just talked about. But that's not all. Along with the 9 major stakes, you'll get race-by-race analysis, betting suggestions, and multi-race plays for the entire Saturday card. This Inside Track to the 2022 Belmont Stakes Racing Festival wagering guide also features an exclusive bankroll wagering article only available in this guide from yours truly and Mr. Aaron Hoffman. We'll be pounding some opinions in that, so make sure you look for that at the beginning of the guide, as well as top 4 consensus picks from all the expert handicappers at racingdudes.com, including Saratoga Slim. He's back. He's back. I keep asking every time I ask, and he's finally committed to doing it. So he's committed. We'll see who he likes in all of these stakes races. Make sure you go to racingdudes.com and go to the products page to go ahead and get yours and be the first to get it when it is released. All right. Big card. Obviously, we got the wagering guide where we'll have our opinions in full display, but we're going to talk. You and I did this separately. Like, all right, let's each give 2 races. Who is our best bet on the card, and what race are we just generally most excited for? We have the same 2 races.
Yes,
so we're going to talk about 2 races on Rapid Fire. So you see it on the screen here. I'll kick things off. The best bet of the entire card on Saturday at Belmont Park is race 4, the Longines Just a Game Stakes, grade 1, and you and I both are on number 3, Speak of the Devil.
Most impressive horse on Kentucky Derby weekend for me was Speak of the Devil. I mean, I know we got Regal Glory in here, and we love Regal Glory, you and I. And she beat a stablemate last time at Keeneland that we didn't think she would beat. But this is a different challenge altogether for me. Speak of the Devil. I think this horse rolls.
I love this horse. The moment I watched her in that race, of course, picked her, had her bet that day at Churchill Downs. I was like, wherever Chad decides to take her these next several months, she is not losing a race until maybe get her to the Breeders' Cup. She won't lose a race if he spots her right. And she shows up here, and what am I going to do? Not better? I mean, come on. Like, this horse, the move she made in the turn was something. And by the way, into a soft pace that in Italian set that day, and just went around them like they were standing still. And Pratt's back aboard. listen, I think she's just so much better than the rest of these. And I don't know that you're going to get, I do think you're going to get everywhere of even money just because of who's in the race. I mean, Regal Glory in here for Chad Brown and an Italian, the horse that she had to beat last time out, setting the pace. I think that you're going to be able to play her on a win side of things. And I think she's a very doable single in the sequence if you're playing the sequence as well. So I don't know about you, but I just, the moment I saw her, that effort, I just was like, this is the next big horse of his, like next big turf monster.
I felt that way too. I was standing on the Churchill Downs rail with Patrick, our buddy from Beeson, and we were just talking, kind of jackassing around like we always do. And I was watching out of the corner of my eye, but we were just kind of chatting, and I saw her start to make the move. I said, "Oh, hold on just a second. We need to watch this race." And yeah, just looped the field. By the way, In Italian is a really nice horse who had a pace advantage that day over Speak of the Devil, and it didn't matter. The horse just swooped up, stayed off on the middle portion of the track, and just dominated. It was awesome to watch this, and to see it in person was great. And like I said, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Regal Glory. I think Speak of the Devil beats her.
Yeah, and why can't she get even better here, right? That was her first race in the United States, first race with Chad Brown, first time Pratt was aboard, first time going in turns, right? So why can't she get better? It only has to do the one turn again here. So yeah, dude. I love Speak of the Devil. All right, I'll let you take over since we both have the same race here as well. What is your race you're most looking forward to of the day?
It has to be Flightline versus Speaker's Corner, right? The horse with the most talent in the country, Flightline, gets out of California, stretches out to a mile, and takes on the horse who's been the best in this country this year, Speaker's Corner. So will it be talent, or will it be a horse that just chucks them out every 4 or 5 weeks and just runs great races every single time? It's going to be an absolute show in this spot. I can't wait for it. And, oh, by the way, you have the Breeders' Cup Sprint winner in Aloha West in the race, who's already proven he can take down a monster when he beat Jackie's Warrior. So he's right there. If you want another option, you have Happy Saber, who's pretty darn consistent in his own right. So you've got other options there as well. But, boy, it's going to be quite the race between these two top ones.
Well, what makes it so interesting is if you are just dead set on playing against these favorites, in Flightline and Speaker's Corner, it at the very least, the race is set up to benefit the 3 and the 4, Aloha West and Happy Saver, because you got two horses who have extreme speed in Flightline and Speaker's Corner, and then two horses, especially like you said, Aloha West, who kind of benefited from that pace meltdown in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year, who should be coming late. The Ortiz brothers, right, should be able to at least make a run if these horses back up to them. That's going to be the biggest key. I'm on the belief that they don't back up. At least one of them doesn't. That one I think is going to be Flightline. I just think this horse is just, it's like watching a freaking sports car out there, really. And this horse I don't care that they're going longer, that he's going longer for the first time, 7 furlongs to a mile. You watch this horse has won these last 3 races, only 3 races, by 13 and a quarter, 12 and 3/4, and 11 and a half. And I'm at the thinking that if he's in a race, he's my bet to win the race.
Yeah, you kind of feel like that. And the reason why I don't think this will be a speed duel, and if it is, it actually is going to hurt Speaker's Corner. Let's take a look at the internal fractions of when these horses were on the lead, right? So you've got Speaker's Corner, who's been on the lead at the half-mile pole, let's see, the last 5 races. The first race he was on the lead, the fraction was 47.07. Second time, 46.48. Third time, 46.26. fourth time, 46.53. And then the last time he was on the lead the last time, going 45.22. That's pretty fast. How about this?
Yeah.
Flightline on the lead, going 44.01 last time out, 44.11 two back, and 44.74 three back. Flightline has the most natural speed out of the two. And so what that tells me, if Speaker's Corner wants the lead, he's going to have to be ridden for the lead, or Flightline's just not going to show up, right?
What's amazing by that is all three. It's not like it's like, oh, he really went fast. He runs like this 22, 44, and 108 every time. He finished the his first two races at 6 furlongs. He finished in 108 and 3 and 108. He ran 6 furlongs in the 7 furlong race, Malibu, in 108. So he's running the same race every time, 22, 44, 108. These horses, Speaker's Corner in particular, cannot keep up with that. So I'm with you. I don't think if there is a pace duel, that means Flightline is not going to win, frankly, because if he's not able to use that speed as his biggest weapon, then he's in trouble. But if Speaker's Corner is taken out of his game a little bit, I think this brings up the opportunity to play an exacta here, because Flightline will be, almost unplayable, if not unplayable, on the win side. So how do you make money? Well, maybe you play Flightline over Happy Saver or something like that. Because if Speaker's Corner is taken out of his element here, then he may not fire at all, or he may struggle to fire a little bit, and this becomes a little bit of a situation where Flightline just pulls away and someone else comes up and hits second.
I think what you said is great, and I think you could do it the other way as well. If you like Speaker's Corner, you could play him over Aloha, West, or Happy Saver the same way, because I think the way Speaker's Corner wins is if Flightline gets out there and it's like, new track, a little bit longer, maybe I'm not quite 100% healthy. We know this horse has had that kind of issue, and he doesn't fire whatsoever. I don't see a situation where Flightline runs second, is what I'm trying to say. If he doesn't win, he's probably out of it, which means Speaker is going to pick up the pieces and most likely win. And then you've got Aloha and Happy Saver. And so you could do it that way as well. So, you pick your poison, whoever you want on top, Flightline, Speaker's Corner, and then just play a long shot in the second spot.
Remember, was it last year, right, that like Nick's Go just did not look like himself?
Yep.
And we were watching obviously there together, and you're like, oh, we're in trouble, because we obviously had picked Nick's Go, and he just hadn't separated it all. He wasn't running that normal race where he put everyone away and just kind of was in his own race. And you could compare that to if Flightline if you don't see that separation midway through the race, as they enter the first turn, or the turn, you're like, uh-oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
He's not multiple lengths ahead of Speaker's Corner or whoever, then you're concerned, right?
Yeah, for sure. And Nick's Go and Flightline, that's a very good comparison. In the way that they win is kind of the same. Get out in front, don't be around anybody, and just extend on them on the turn, and then it's over. They can't get to you because you're just naturally fast and you don't get tired. And you're right. With Nick's Go, we'd seen that horse so many times. I'd seen him in person so many times that each race he ran, when he got with Brad Cox, we knew this is a win, this is a loss, almost immediately. Especially after the first half, you just knew it was over. It's like at Saratoga, we're standing there on the Whitney, and you pointed to the clock tower that was right kind of after the first turn there, and you said, we'll know by that tower if he's winning or not. And it was true, and it was true every time. Same with the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, that day I looked at you, and it was the opposite of what we said most of the time when we were standing there watching Nick's Go. He's been a very good horse to us over the years. And I looked at you and said, we're fucked. He is pissed. He's around horses. He's throwing his head. We're screwed. So if you see that on the Flightline, you're in big trouble on Saturday.
Yeah, he definitely is one of those horses where you feel like, we don't really know because we've never seen him anywhere near out of the race, so to speak. But you kind of feel like you can start walking to the window with him kind of horse if he's where you think he'll be as they get to that turn there,
Mm-hmm.
and because frankly, he's the quintessential definition of a horse that's, you're in that position where you can't go with him, because if you do, you're screwed. And if you let him go, you can't make up the ground to get to him late in the race. And so he's just damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of horse. And he's a superstar. I really think so. And I think if you play against him, you're playing against him at your own risk.
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to play against him with two ideas. One, let's just throw out, he's California, and I think Speaker's Corner will beat him, blah, blah, blah. He won't show up. Or you're thinking if Speaker's Corner does actually go, you're playing one of the other three in this race in hopes of a pace meltdown. Because that's the two ways he could get beat. If Speaker's Corner, if they ride the hell out of him and they go with him, I think he's capable of doing it if he's asked. It's going to fuck them both bad, right? And then if you think that's going to happen, that's when this thing can explode and you play Aloha West or Happy Saver.
Yeah, and Bill Mott even alluded to that in like a press release, like, hey, yeah, like you don't think we're just going to concede the lead because Flightline is faster. Like, do you think we want to let him go and just wire the field, So it'll be interesting to see the tactics there and how much of that is talk and how much of, will they try to push Flightline or get after him a little bit. So yeah, it'll be interesting because Flightline obviously has done his best running. Speaker's Corner has done his best running on the front end as well. So this is a horse who, has won 3 in a row, all gate to wire, and done so very impressively. So yeah, I mean, if you believe that there's no way that they're going to concede the lead easily, that is Speaker's Corner. Well, Flightline may have been dominating, but he has not seen a horse like Speaker's Corner yet. So, we'll see. I'm in the belief that he can't keep up with Flightline, but that's why they run him, right?
That's right.
All right, you and I are both on number 1 Flightline. I don't know how you can look at these races and not be just so pumped. Like, like I said earlier, and it's true. Like, if I've watched all day and don't make a single bet, I would still enjoy the racing all day.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, this is going to be very intriguing to watch how it unfolds, even though it is 5-horse field,
Nesta, what's a chalk? I'm in UK. Is it a favorite, as we say here? Yes, it's a favorite. So chalk is favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it comes from writing the odds of horses, right, on a chalkboard.
I think that's what John White told us.
Yes. I think so.
99% sure.
So it's a chalky day, as we sometimes say over here in the U.S., and it seems like it's going to be a chalky day on Saturday.
Yes.
All right, it's all the time we have. Check out racingnews.com for our free picks and, of course, our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing News premium button, the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember to go check out the inside track to the 2022 Belmont Stakes Racing Festival wager guide. It is now available for pre-sale. It will be available. The full version will be available later today, maybe early on Thursday. So keep your eyes out for that. If you've already purchased it, just go. You'll look for an email or just go to your dashboard, and it'll be right there in your dashboard at racingdudes.com. The Magic Mike Show. You got a couple to watch here. The Magic Mike Show did the Belmont Park. You were a part of that. The Belmont Park Thursday late pick 4. So that's out. The Magic Mike Show will also be back tomorrow with Magic and Samich. They'll be doing the late pick 5 at Belmont on Saturday. So you want more analysis of that late pick 5, what Samich and Magic think of that. Make sure you stay tuned for that tomorrow at 4, right? 4 Central. So
Yep.
The Magic Mike Show. So make sure you look for that on Thursday. RacingNews.com is your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off and Magic Mike on our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, all the places you listen to. And of course, watch every episode on our YouTube page, Racing Dudes /YouTube/Racing Dudes. All right, Halterman. I feel like I've seen you. I've been up since like 8 today, and I've seen you for most of those hours.
We've had 2 shows, 2 meetings. It's been a long day of talking. My throat actually hurts today. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm hungry and I'm tired, and I'm tired of seeing you.
Go grab a Snickers.
Hungry? We'll be live tomorrow at noon for the live show. We'll be doing the tournament, so make sure you check out the Racing Dudes Tournament Challenge is continuing on Friday. All available to all premium subscribers. So if you are a premium subscriber, you are invited to play in that. Just look in your dashboard. $150 site credit at horse tourneys, including cash prizes. Last week, I believe the winner went home with on a total around $300, I believe it was. So play against the dudes this Friday. Belmont, I'm going to guess, will be a big part of that as well. So that'll be fun to have that incorporated into the tournament. And we'll be live. We'll do a live show on Belmont Stakes Day on Saturday. Halterman and I will be home. So we'll be live on the show. I believe, where is he at? I saw him pop up somewhere. But Saratoga Slim, wherever you're at, you will be at, he'll be live at Belmont. So if you're going to be there, make sure you look for him. All right. That's it. I'm done. I can't say anything more. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I'm done. I'm done with you and everybody. No, just kidding. No, yeah. Just join us. We're going to be, like I said, got a lot of stuff going on. So if you like the live shows, we're definitely going to have a lot of that for you for sure. And we got a lot of videos up as well. And I don't know. We just got shit everywhere right now. We got sports. We got wrestling on the YouTube page. So it's everything. Yeah,
we usually talk about wrestling on here, but now I don't have to, thanks to your wife. So that's great. So Heather and Aaron are doing they have a wrestling show now on the YouTube page. So make sure you go watch that if you are into the wrestling action. And I don't have to talk about it. So it's perfect.
It's perfect. Works out well.
All right. Until next time, boys and girls, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck in the Belmont Stakes.